Hi, Bharat.
Hi, Jonas.
Let's see. So we got some updates on this proposal wiki page, composition service, and LFN demo. I don't know what that is, but
Hello
hey,
everyone.
Muthu.
Hello Jonas.
So you edited the proposal page, yeah?
No, I didn't edit the proposal page yet.
No.
No, not yet. I thought of adding
Oh.
it. Editing it. I shared the email last week. You also shared that email. There are some inputs. You provided some inputs, and other guys provided some inputs. Based on the discussion today, I will edit the like a proposal page today after this meeting.
No. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, misunderstanding. I meant the page for the proposal meeting.
Yeah, I edited
Okay, let me
that
share.
proposal meeting page. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have let me share here. There is do you see this one? There's LFN demo here
I didn't add that.
with a link to our proposals.
Okay.
So I don't. But yeah. So we have also, if I look at the page history, we can see that Luis also
Okay.
edited something. So let's see. So you wanted to have a discussion about the composition service.
Composition service, we are discussing about asking DMTF forum on some feedback, enhancements, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I raised a couple of questions, but it seems like resource zones, it's part of the generic zone collection, so there is a post call available. Yeah, you mentioned that one, that is fine. And we got some other inputs about where are we positioning the composition service, so how it consumes the resource blocks. So only the resource block creation is a bottleneck kind of thing, how composition service identify the resource block.
Hold on, just setting up. So your question. So okay. So see if we have everybody. We have 6 people here. So it's basically Musso, HPE, and Luis. Luis, did you edit this page, the meeting page?
I did. I put in the discussion around the elephant demo I wanted to introduce to the team. Are you sharing?
I'm not
if we have
sharing.
time, we can. Oh, okay.
No, yeah, we
Only if
probably
have
have time, but I just wanted to see if you made a mistake or if you really meant to link this. Can you see?
Yes, yeah, I did. I actually linked it. Click the link and it'll take you to the sort of proposal table. There you go. Down at the bottom, all the way down.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. I had dropped this down actually. I think a week, maybe longer.
Oh,
we
I
can go over
see.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
I put that on the contribution proposal.
I got it. I understand. I thought it was a mistake, but obviously it made sense once I started looking there. Okay, good. So let's see, how many people do we have? It's 4 minutes after. Let's see. Let's just start with the questions then. And Martin, perhaps you have some views here as well because you have dialed into the composition task force. So can you start from scratch, Muthu, and just describe again, because I was kind of setting up the notes page and things.
Yeah, sure. For composition service, so like under as part of ODIM, we identified that the resource block creation is like there is no such requirement from the specification, that specification. So, and we also thought of having like a resource zone creation, but we identified that resource zone is part of a generic zone collection. So zone collection allows post APIs to create new zones, and also that's not a problem. Now the resource blocks, how the composition service is identifying the resource blocks. We thought of asking this to DMTF about adding a like enhancing the composition service by adding a post action to the resource block creation externally. So in our earlier discussion with DMTFF, it was suggested that the resource block should be internally created. Composition service implementation, it is implementation specific because the interconnectivity daily we cannot like identify. So it is like how we are building the system resources. The same way we need to build the resource block resources. That's what the input we got it from the DMTF people. So when we had a meeting with them, and we thought of proposing this, can we add a post action in the resource block APIs? So that was the discussion last week we had, and last week because of the elephant demo, this was not happened. This meeting was not.
Yeah. So just to conclude, the resource zones we can create because we do posts to those collections, right? But the resource block, and I kind of remember you sent an email about this, didn't you?
Yeah, email, and you guys responded to it. I got some couple of responses. Maybe we can go over that.
Did you send that on the TSC list or? Go
Sorry,
ahead,
just
Martin.
yeah, no, I was just going to ask them. So Mutu, so you got in touch with the DMTF about this, and your request was, I guess essentially, can a northbound client dynamically, post a resource blocks through some sort of action, then, right, through a post action. And then those would then appear on whatever the resource is that you're posting to. In our case, that would be within ODIM and the composition service. But if it wasn't actually a server or something, then you would actually post that directly to the server. Then, right? Would that is that what you asked for?
Can you please come again?
His email, he's writing 4 use cases.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. Which is create resource blocks.
Yeah.
Number 1. Create resource zone. Number 2, and that seems to be addressed.
Yeah.
And then add and remove resource blocks under resource blocks to resource zone, as well as deleting resource blocks, right?
Yeah. Delete resource zones is already available.
Yeah, sorry, but the create resource blocks, that's not available though, is it?
Yeah.
No, those. So I think if we look at what you proposed, if number 2, and let's see.
Can you just share that, Jonas?
Yeah. See here. Share screen. Share. You see this email now, do you?
Yeah.
So this one seems to be addressed.
Yeah.
Right, but the create resource blocks isn't.
Create resource blocks is not addressed. It's see here, yeah, if you look at the resource block collection, it has it is read-only. So it's
Mhm.
deletable false, insertable false, updatable false, right?
Yeah, because their assumption is that the resources themselves would know what they're, they already have knowledge of their own resource blocks. So why would anybody else be able to tell them what that is?
In the real problem here is in ODIM kind of heterogeneous environment, we are talking to different underlying services. So we are not really building, the ODIM is not really building all the resources like in many times, like it is using different interfaces and it is like building it. In such case, creating resource block is really needed in the ODIM side.
Yeah.
So what is a typical resource block? That would be a whole server, is it? Or
I think it's a computer system at the moment.
yeah, because
Resource, from my understanding, the resource blocks can be a kind of like representing a whole computer system of type computer system. There are different type of resource blocks available, and it may be split into the same computer system can be split into multiple blocks, processor block, memory block, and other things. Suppose all this processor block, memory block, and like storage and network blocks are coming from the same computer system, maybe we can combine together and put it in under one zone, something like that. So these resources can be available for a composability or something like that. That's how the resource zone come into the picture. Only as of now, the detachable resources are storage and network, right? So memory and processor are always like part of compute itself. So the
but
storage blocks
it's
may come from outside also.
yeah, but if you look at a computer system, because you have like everything baked into the same
Yeah.
baseboard there, you have, you can't use, for instance, part of the memory to another virtual composed server. I mean, that was kind of the dream of RSD or
RSD, yeah.
this
Yeah.
disaggregation, but that's not the reality. So a resource block is the smallest part that you can use for a composition, isn't it? Or
Yeah, it's a for functional block for the composition.
Yeah, it's going to be the whole rack mount server, typically.
yeah, it's going to be the whole rack mount server for rack mount server. I guess if you have some storage device that is building up some shared storage, then you could obviously use things like a volume or something, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
what I was thinking about, Murtu, right, and just interested to see what you think of this, right, is that if we went into DMTF, because at the moment the resource blocks are essentially computer systems, right? There isn't very much beyond that, from what I
yeah,
recall.
at this moment,
But how is it,
yeah.
Martin? How is it with the first out? The storage example is one example where you can carve out volumes and they could be a resource block, right? Then what about the whole networking thing? How is that playing into this?
Yeah. Sorry. So what I was going to say was, I was just wondering if we assume then that the computer system is a whole rack mount server, right? And so therefore that resource block would be, would be a rack mount. Then if we could also have another resource block, which would be a fabric, right? And then we created a resource zone, which basically says that this set of computer systems and this fabric, if they're all members of the same resource zone, then they can communicate with each other, right? And you know what I mean? You can actually combine those resources, and combine in quotes, you know what I mean? So
Basically, the resource zone is identifying the resource blocks that can be interoperable. Something.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, right? So,
Yeah.
so obviously, if you want to, so say for example, you wanted to connect, a rack mount server to some shared storage across an Ethernet fabric, then if you have those as 3 different resource blocks, but they're all members of the same resource zone, then you should be able to set up communications between them. If they're not all members of the same resource zone, i.e. you can't connect them across the same fabric, then you can't do that operation.
Hold on. Is the resource zone now all of a sudden tapping into how networking is set up?
No, the resource zone is just saying that if it basically puts constraints on which resource blocks can talk to each other.
Well, okay. So I thought the resource zone was like decomposition. It's not then, right?
No.
So what is it? So the resource zone is grouping resource blocks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, grouping
So if you
resource
have
blocks.
so if I have let's say I want to compose something, do I need to just pick one resource zone and compose everything that, and then I get everything that is composable from that resource zone? Or can I use multiple resource zones?
I don't think you can.
I don't
I don't
think
think
we
you
can add multiple resource zones.
No,
Why
I don't
is-
think you can connect resources across resource zones. I don't think you can. I think the resources have to be within the resource zone.
Yeah, huh.
So we are
Okay.
composing a system, for example, if you are composing a compute system, we are composing a system with the specified resource blocks, and we are using the resource zones for like capabilities of the resource block. This resource block is capable of like communicating with the other resource blocks, so that we can compose this as a system, something like that.
Yeah.
And provide that
So what is the
information.
act of composing then? What is, I mean, so let's say you compose something, you reserve it, and then if you take it all from the same resource zone, then how do you compose? I mean,
Yeah, it was like when you compose, we are literally making a kind of adding a new computer system resource, which is pointing to all the resource blocks of like in the system type equal to composed. It will be part of the system collection as well.
Yeah. So resource blocks are reported in the same resource zone, and then they are allowed to be composed together. If they, I just pulled up the white paper here.
Yeah,
So that
suppose.
means, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. In later point of time, if you want to create a like kind of attaching a new storage to the resource, to a composed system, from my understanding, we need to add that resource block, create a resource block for that new volume or whatever the storage resource, and then add it to the resources zone. I think that will take care of
Yeah.
like kind of attaching external storage as network or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So they will be. So let's say we want somebody to be able to compose something. We will add the rack mount server as a resource block into that resource zone. Then we might add some storage into that resource zone, some volumes or something. And then Martin, we would add some networking in there as well. I don't know if that means we will would we add a zone of zones or a zone of endpoints or just endpoints? I don't know what it means. But.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to be even more less granular than that, and just add the fabric.
The whole fabric, okay.
The whole fabric, right? So you basically, so if you picture it in a data center, right? You've got a fabric that's interconnecting a set of racks with compute and storage in it. So if you assume that for this rack and row, this set of racks are all connected by this one fabric, so therefore they could all be so all of the compute and storage nodes and that fabric, if they're all in the same resource zone, then all of those resource blocks should be able to communicate with each other across that fabric, I think.
Okay.
Right? But,
so what does it mean then if we look at Musu's email? So when we say create resource blocks, that means that, I mean, when ODIM comes up, we can have some automation. I guess we can see, oh, here's a server. It has a computer system. It has a chassis. So something then would be creating that as a resource block. And what is the resource block? Is it a computer system or what is it?
It is up to us how we can create resource block. Yeah, we can create a resource block with the whole as a computer system, as a whole computer system. But On the other same way, we can also create like multiple resource blocks by separating the processor, memory, and other things. So DMTF didn't define anything specific. Only computer system can be composed. They are providing the resource block type is different: compute resource block, memory resource block, storage resource block. Maybe for future disaggregated management.
Yeah, or a fabric. Yeah, they don't have a fabric yet, but that would be.
But do we think that ODIM should come up and do this automatically, or should it just come up and I think it should just come up and represent the resources, and then the composition service will be there as well. And then the question is, will there be some automation? I don't think so, because if we identify a server today and we just say, oh yeah, because of limitation in today's technology, the whole server, the whole computer system has to be a resource block, that truth might not be correct tomorrow, right? Because then there might be this vendor that has released something with an optical backplane, so now you can just take a piece of the memory and add to as a resource block, right?
Yeah.
So we should probably have some sort of a manual operation that will be interacting with a composition service to create this resource block. Do you think?
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
we are. That is our request to DMTF.
Well, the request is that we should be able to create a resource block. We should be able to create a resource zone. That is already covered. But
Yeah.
then we also have that we need to be able to add and remove resource block to
Yes.
resource zone. And we are not today, are we? Or
Adding external resources like a storage or network device is I think possible. I'm still talking about the RSD perspective. So sorry about that. So RSD it was like allowed. We need to sync up with the similar model here.
yeah, because you have resource blocks in a zone, and I guess we don't have special resource zones. We have the same schema. There might be a resource type that could be, I mean, there might be a zone type that could be resource zone. I don't know, but we have resource blocks in there, and those are pointing today to, let's see here. Well, I can share this as well. Just need to figure out, okay, share again. So you see here is the resource block, right? Let me highlight that so you see it. It's kind of red right now. This is in the zone. So
Yeah.
here it's a collection. It seems like what's it? It's an array, and it has a data count. So I think the read only is true here. That's the problem, right?
Yeah. Read only true means we cannot add more resources blocks into resource zones. At the time of creating the zone, we need to define the resource blocks, something like that. Am I right?
Yeah. Which is that good enough? It's not, right? Because
Yeah.
No, it'd be good if you could do that separately.
because otherwise you have to recreate the whole zone every time you want to edit it, like you want to add more resource block or something.
Yeah, exactly. If you add a server, you don't want to
Yeah.
mess with everything else.
But is it? Hold on. Here is see, there is a resource block here under resource block. Huh.
And it also has other resources like endpoints, switches, all those things. So we need to understand more on that part.
Okay.
There is a resource block. Okay. Well, so then I think your email holds true then, apart from this one, right?
Yeah.
It would be good also to have some use cases, like if we tell them that, you know, we need this, but obviously if we can explain that the way we see this happening is that somebody's adding a storage device with volumes, and then we want to be able to add that as resource blocks, and then somebody is adding a new server and we want to be able to add that as a resource block. Because all of these things were there from the very beginning when somebody had something. Like for instance, you had a bladed chassis, like a C7000 or something else. When that thing came up, you already had everything, resource blocks and everything. But in a more dynamic fashion, like we are looking at this with an aggregator, obviously this can change. So this is, yeah. So mostly, if you could add some use cases to this and remove number 2, then I think.
Yeah.
Then perhaps we could.
Yeah, I'll
then we
extend
could,
this like email thread, or like is it possible to post it in the proposal page itself? This one, these
oh yeah,
details.
absolutely do that.
Oh,
Or if you go to the proposal page, I think let's see here. The proposal page is this one. Here you have composition service. So you could potentially add it here if you want to add a use case thing or whatever you want to do, right? Or just update the email. It's up to you.
I
Like
think it'd
this.
be good.
I think this
Sorry.
is a common place so that everybody can view emails. So maybe
Yeah.
like we may lost in future. Like I will
Yeah.
update
Yeah,
it
no, I
here.
agree. Emails
Yeah,
are
I think,
bad because
yeah, I'd rather not have it in email. I'd rather have it on this page.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I will
very
also
good.
update the APIs, like because the current one we have a older proposal. I will change it to Redfish based the composition service APIs. I will kind of like rewrite the proposal. We have the data, and we need to update it, and I will update it on that. And I'll also add some use cases, 1 or 2 use cases for like adding a external storage or external network to a resource zone or resource block in
Yeah, I
general.
think that's good because we can then point to the MTF guys to this as well because it's open to the public, right?
Yeah, Jonas, we have found that one add resource block to the composite system. There is an action in the system collection itself. The composite system collection itself, there is an option to add resource block. I'm not
Is
sure
there?
how. Yeah, in the computer system, composite system class, there is an API to add resource block into it, something like that. After
Huh.
composing a system, I think that
What
part is
was the schema you were talking about?
in the computer system schema.
Okay, computer systems.
Computer system schema has some additional actions, add resource block or something like that.
Yeah, it does.
Actions,
This
computer
action
system add
adder.
resource block, remove resource block. So I think from there we can remove. Then what will be the impact on the resource
No,
zones?
but so hold on. If we think about that though, if you have that on the computer system, what does it mean that you call this action? Does it mean that this action will add the whole computer system as a resource block?
No, I think we cannot add all the resource blocks into the computer system, like a kind of external resources like storage block or like network block, or sometime later memory block can be added, something like that.
But the computer system is not. Is that a container for resource blocks then? I mean.
Yeah, that doesn't work sense.
Kind of, yeah. Computer system looks like a container for a resource blocks, but when we are adding this add resource block, I'm not sure where it will be added. Like computer system type composed is already having the like resource block attribute in the object, in the JSON object. So I think we have to add it array of resource blocks. I think we have to attach it there, but if I can simply add it to the API internally, how the connectivity will be happen, will be taken care is question for us from
Yeah,
our
I
side.
honestly don't understand what they're doing with this action add resource block, because let's say I want to add then the fabric, for instance. Am I supposed to add that here in the computer system? I mean, And will that then show up under resource blocks?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense if that's.
It's just, we need to understand yeah, so perhaps if we can get the use cases, and then we can get a meeting with, perhaps we'll show this to the MTF, but I can also get a meeting with Jeff Hill, and if you want, and we can go through this and how these use cases we have identified are actually applicable to the MTF's thinking about this, because it seems like they've been a little bit all over the place, and we see that in the past as well. This add resource block on the computer system could not be a system level way of adding resource blocks. That seems very strange.
Yeah, there may be like there may be some restriction in the add resource blocks. We need to go through that the schema if there are any conditions added. So only this kind of external resources and which is part of the zone can be added or something like that. So, but zone is not allowing to add any new resource blocks. That's where the complication begins.
Exactly. So how is it then even, how does it make sense that we can add it on the computer system? Yeah, it's weird. DMTF, perhaps. Yeah, I know Jeff Hillam was a little bit interested in looking at these things. So
Yeah.
let me know, Muthu, when you have something up here, and I will socialize it with him and get some feedback. And we just need to make sure that we have a full understanding of what is missing before we come with an official proposal to the MTF, I think.
Yeah, sure. I'll update the proposal page with the new APIs and the use cases, how to add, what is the use cases, how the add resource block, I go through the completely with the add resource block and remove resource block actions schema. So I'll provide some more use cases in the proposal page itself.
Oh, very good. Okay. Anything else on that one then? So then, Luis, if you want to talk about this, was it a 5G demo or what is it? LFN demo?
Yeah,
Right?
it's LFN demo. Yep. Let me just share my screen here. Did my is my screen up on the?
Yeah. I decided to make it full screen. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I dropped this onto the contribution proposals page. I just want to, is this the right place to put it? Basically, it's down here on the bottom. Basically, just for the TSC to consider this. So we've got this LFN demo, and it's currently down, but what we're working on bringing it back up in time for ONES 2021 and showcasing it in October. And it might be a good place for ODIM to put some to showcase on that. There's a solution brief. Well, there's some. I'm not going to click through the links here, but I do encourage you to take a look. Let's take a look at the solution brief real quick. Let me know if this comes up on the screen. I think it did, or it's coming.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so this is a little bit dated, but there's a solution brief on the 5G cloud native demo, and there were basically 4 clusters. There was the main core is in Montreal. I think it's still there at a third party called Coloom, which is an IT company out there that we are renting space on. I believe that the San Diego site is no longer up. I'm not really certain about all the other sites, but the thinking was
the Eurocom is
go ahead.
Still available.
I'm sorry, one more time.
The third one there is still is.
In Sofia.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Yep. Okay. So the thinking is, so I'm working with Brandon and others. I'm sort of on this committee that we want to bring this demo back up, update it, and have it ready for ONES. And I'm thinking that we should, I think ODIM might be in a place where we might be a good fit for this on one or more of these clusters. So I wanted to see what about, how we want to move forward with first seeing if we're a good fit for this, and then seeing if the, if the TSC is interested in maybe pursuing getting onto this demo and showcasing the ODIM solution here in the October-ish or even earlier. I think they're actually talking about having it up and running by the summertime.
That I can help with, by the way.
Great.
I'm
Um,
intimately familiar with this setup, let's just say.
Perfect. You know a lot more about it than I do. Then I'd love I know it from a program management standpoint, but not the technicals too much.
I'm
yet.
one of the
Yeah.
guys that help on that. So yeah.
So again, this is more of an introduction. I don't think we need to hash out the whole thing, but what I see is we've got some meetings with the demo team that I'm involved with, and Brandon. I think you probably know Brandon Wick then, because he was involved in this for a while, or is. And see if we want to jump on there and see if we maybe fit in here somewhere, because I think we might. I think we have an opportunity.
So just to conclude, so there are some systems available then, like labs, and we could potentially host an ODIM demo there. Is that ODIM demo? What do you think? I mean, is it too early to talk about what it would demonstrate, or is it? Because I mean, ODIM functionality, we have different demos for different things, like building it and so on and so forth. But it would be interesting to actually do something with ODIM, show how we can.
Yes, that's what I had put down here. I think we need. Well, I think there are three things we need to look at. Number one, is it technically feasible? Can it actually happen based on what they're putting together? Number two, some kind of value proposition. What do we want to accomplish? How does it help the industry? And and use cases that we can say, these are the use cases with ODIM that we want to be able to show in the demo. So I think these are the factors that we need to look at. There may be others, but certainly these three are sort of key.
And okay, so that's good. And we need to read the solution brief. To be honest, I haven't even noticed that you added this to the proposal page. So apologies. I think
all good.
The other thing I wanted to ask is, do they have the hardware then, or is it? I mean, there are already machines where we could potentially put something on, or do we need to see if we can scrounge something together?
Yeah, not really sure. I think those are some questions that need to come up in the meetings when we talk with the committee that's putting together the demo. Just to see. I know that is some hardware, but I know they sort of put it up, set the demo up, and I think William can probably talk a lot better than I can on it. They set it up and then shoot some video and shoot some media, right, collateral, and then at least parts of it get taken down. So when you
yeah, sorry. So when you say the committee that will arrange for the demo is, so we are not doing the demo, or I mean, how do you, or you mean that they're just managing it, or what is the?
Yeah, well, there's a committee to sort of plan out, the build, and then to find out what solutions we want to put on there. So we would do certainly our piece of it, right? The ODIM piece, we would own that, but not the entire thing. We would just be a piece. We solution on the demo, include ANACAT, ONAP.
So there would be a larger demo, and ODIM would be just a small piece of it. Is what you're saying? And
they would be the distributors, infrastructure manager on the demo is what I'm thinking. In some piece of it, wherever we think we would fit.
So that is an end-to-end 5G demo. I mean, you can actually do calls. I mean, you can do calls between the data centers, etc. So it's an end-to-end, and it's comprised of many solutions underneath.
Right.
And yeah, I can see where this could fit actually.
Perfect.
I do.
Okay, so we need to get in there and see what we can cover. So is there some due dates here where we need to show interest and give forward a proposal, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I think the next thing to do is to sit in on the next call. I know Brandon Wick, who him and I are sort of working together from LFN. We haven't set up the next call, but as soon as it hits the calendar, I'll make sure that you folks know about it, and we'll get you on the call just to start talking to them about it. And maybe. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just there's a bit of lag, so apologies for interrupting you. But so William, if you have done this before, is that something you could sit in on? And obviously I can sit in on it as well, but it's good to have somebody that has some already experience with this.
Well, it depends on when that is.
Yeah, of
okay.
course.
And
But apart from a scheduling challenge, is it something you could?
Yes, I mean,
okay.
Hannon and Dave and me from our side are the guys that work a lot of this, especially the part on precisely Coloma and Eurocom. So yeah, now outside that, what's there on the Linux Foundation per se side? Well, that's need coordination.
Yeah, of course.
It's not the technology; it's the other part.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, so I would recommend. I would recommend everyone take a look at the the link here. I'm not going to click it, but this I think this links back to OPNFV. I don't remember where it links back to, but to the demo. I'm sorry, there's a new demo page. Apologies. So link. Take a look at some background. Take a look at the solution brief. I got two separate here. And then think about, use cases after looking at that, and value proposition that we could bring to the table, and then look for the next meeting when we talk about the demo with the larger team, with some of the other leads on the other projects, and then we can at least start talking to begin the discussion, right? Just make sure that it's technically feasible, make sure that the use cases are interesting that we're bringing to the table, that kind of thing. So that's all basically I'm asking at this point.
How do we know what the next meeting is? Is that under the proposal link there? Or?
That's actually not. I'll ping Brandon. I don't see him online yet. I'll ping him and just remind him that we need the next meeting so I can get it out in front of you, and get it on your calendar. Yeah. But it's not on my calendar yet. That I don't think I see it yet, but I'll ask him.
Very good.
Yep.
Okay. Any input from anybody else? Do you think this is of interest, or?
Definitely.
I don't know, John, perhaps. Yeah, I think so as well.
I think it'd be nice if we could. Is it too early to look at potentially showing composition as part of this? That would be nice.
Is it too early? The composition service is in flight, and we still have questions. Maybe, but this is October, right? So perhaps things are falling in place.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
that would be
nice.
That would be really sweet if we could show that.
Yeah, a real composition service. That would be nice.
Well, the latest implementation from DMTF, right?
Indeed. Cool.
So someone provided
I can't
the
see
hardware.
Yeah, that may have to be an ask, but I would recommend that we put the composition service maybe as a stretch goal here. I mean, let me just add it in. We just say we'd like to, but it's a stretch goal, at least for now.
Yeah, I don't think it'll do any harm if as long as well, obviously AMI are the people, right? So, but if they agree.
Yeah, it is. If it depends a little bit on the DMTF work going on as well. Of course, if they are close, we can implement according to that and make some assumptions like we did on the aggregation service. But if they are not close, then I don't know. we'll see.
Well, they seem to, from the last call on the composition service, they seem to be pretty close to finalizing it. I don't think there's very much more.
Well, there are some use cases that we want to address as well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know, for their stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice. This is a good opportunity. So,
by the way, the cool
we
thing on
have-
this is that we can have different locations with different size of data centers, even from 1 or 2 node, all being part of the same demo. Okay, so that's how this was done. It was really highly distributed, but it was like that. It was like 3 to 5 to 8 servers, depending on which data center we were talking about, and that also provide a way to, for example, if we want to highlight the composition service, if someone has a lab that has the hardware to do that, then that could be one of the remote sites that we can then stretch this to. So it does not need to be physically co-located.
Yeah.
So William, there is so if we had something in HPE, for instance, but it required a VPN or something, do they work with these things as well, or
We actually have we used 2 modes back then. One, yes, was with VPN, but the one that we ended up using was using SD-WAN. So if I remember correctly, we use, what's the name? Turnium SD-WAN. So they provided that part. So they were showcased as part of the solution. And that's what we use to interconnect the different location, even the location at KubeCon. When this was done in KubeCon on stage, that was an SD-WAN.
Okay.
On Turnium.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, from AMI side, adding composition service is a good option, but according to the current discussions going on and composition service, the schema is also being updated with a newer version. We are little concerned about that, whether we can make it by that time or not, because there are so many different pieces we need to put together.
Yeah, so let's not commit to it. It's just a stretch goal, but I think we will still need to come up with use cases what we want to show.
That part,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, no doubt.
So sorry to ask, who was the gentleman that recommended this?
Luis?
This is Louis. I'm the program manager here for. Yeah.
Oh,
the
okay.
LFN host. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with LFN.
Okay. So adding to this, we could probably then use. I know Intel is also looking to highlight some features or capabilities for the network part. So with that, we could probably get some additional help from Intel. That's why I was trying to see if you were Intel or not. Sorry.
No.
That's a good point. Intel is actually not here today, but so we could actually, if we are good at reading up on this, perhaps we can have a further discussion on this in tomorrow's TSC.
Yeah.
I might send out just an email on the TSC list to just point in this direction and see whoever has time to read up on it, and then we could discuss it a little bit more tomorrow. Because it's good to have Intel as well, because they are arranging for some hardware and stuff every now and then. So, are they involved in this? Do you know, William, in this specific demo setup? Or?
They were part of it. They did provide some funding initially. I mean, but again, there were many companies involved. There's a huge page on the different companies involved.
Cool. Well, let's get on top of it. It seems like we are early, but that's good because these things are complicated. If you want to have one complete 5G demo with everything in it.
It,
There is a
it's not early.
shitload of things that can fall off. Yeah.
No, it is not early. Last time it took us probably 9 months.
Oh, it
So,
did.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
bet.
We have
Oh,
we have
wow.
a lot of work to do. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, the
Perfect.
earlier remark was that we don't even know when the next meeting is, but let's keep track of that one and see if we can get in.
Oh, absolutely. As soon as it hits my calendar, I'm going to get it out to folks. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to ping him now and see what he has in mind for the next call. I think it's on Tuesdays typically, if I recall correctly. But anyway, I'll find out.
Good. Anything else on this, guys? Because Susan is not dialing into these meetings, Louise, I'm going to depend a little bit on the recording because I talk and I can't take notes at the same time. My brain doesn't work that way. So.
Yep, I got you.
Yep.
I've been doing my best to get the recordings up on the website. You'll see it there. Should be mostly there.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Good deal. If nothing else, I guess we can get 10 minutes back today. Okay, guys. Have a good day.
Cheers.
Good deal.
Thank you all. Bye.
All right. Bye.